Hey everyone, Nerd Day Mark here. It's time to go. Oh, sorry. I'm going to be going over both episode 39 and 40 of Kamen Rider Gavv. My voice is still kind of there. I'm sick. It's a hybrid of upper respiratory infection. I've been coughing so much, so my throat hurts also. It's not a fun time, which is why there really hasn't been much content. I guess I got to do like this week in Candy Toys because I was hopped up on so many meds and it was like first thing in the morning. So I was like, yeah. But yeah, so I'm gonna do a quick, brief overview of episode 39 because it seemed very, except for the major part at the end, it was very kind of like fillery, and I felt like 39 and 40 also kind of went hand in hand as like a two-part little like isolated story, and then the end of 40 kind of is pushing the next final stretch forward. Um, the main gist of 39 to me was just like, all right, we're going into the whole like, also the end of 38, right? Grota takes out the granite guy that was the chef for the pastry thing, this and that, and it's like I was kind of like shocked that like nothing came of that, like especially with the whole Hanto situation that was the granite that basically took his mother away, and yeah, they resolved all this, but then it was like they take him out, and I'm like, really? Um, okay. And then they kind of used episode 39 kind of to put more of the spotlight on Grota, and I don't know, some elements of it, especially when she was talking, when she like, so she finds out Nelv operated on Jeep and gave him the Black Gavu unit, and he like confronts him, and he's just like, if I, well, I'm supposed to go over things with you, you're just gonna stop me, you know? And she knocks his little tablet out of hand, sees their great uncle Dente is alive. He's like, he's alive? He's like, yeah, he's living in the human world and helping Shoma. And like, it's one of those things where I was like, she hasn't, recently she's in more episodes, but she was gone for so long. And I feel like a lot of the character work with her right now is just like, almost like information dumping when a lot of shows do this, like instead of like recaps they'll be like, all right, let's get as much lore character like just thrown at you in one episode where it doesn't feel like a natural progression. And obviously, um there's the whole president's daughter thing has been kind of awkward because like she's completely manipulating and gaslighting Jeep because she's like, oh, your power needs to be nurtured, and even he's questioning why he couldn't beat Shoma, and he's like, well, you got to get time, like, you just had this stuff done. I'm gonna cut that cough out because that spiked the audio, and I don't know, it just seems, I don't know, this episode was very fillery. Like we knew, like I thought maybe this episode was gonna be one of those where like Dente gives Rakia his upgrade form. Um, we know that he was working on the antitoxin or the antidote to his toxin. Lazelle's just there. Like I don't there. She gives up. I just don't know what's going on with like this whole president stuff because I feel like other than the dark confections and making them, and then her goading Glilton to thinking she's not doing good enough and stuff like that. It's like one of those. It's just a weird dynamic with all this stuff because it's like we're going like obviously I'm talking about episode of 40 in this as well, but it's like, uh, like what's what is this, and it all culminated because the main thing was we knew Dente was gonna die. Okay, spoiler: the end of the episode. I mean, this is episode 39, right? Dente gets killed by Glota. Okay, but the whole episode was them. He wants to go out and experience human food out at restaurants, this that, not just in his cave and food being brought to him. And he really wants to do like putting all a mode and all this other stuff. Which instantly, when that happened, I was like, oh, this is where we're gonna get Vram's final form, and it led into them just getting all these ingredients. Once again, the shop owner for that Shoma always goes to appears after while Shoma's grocery shopping for like bananas and apple, all the fruit and everything else. Like he bumps into him and they're talking and it's his day off, and you find out he's going to go visit his parents' grave because they died when he was young. And they bump into Hanto, who is still doing research into if Shoma's mother had any family, because obviously she had to come from somewhere. And I like that that's still kind of a subplot and hasn't been forgotten. I feel like the everyone theorizing about the shop owner being related. I feel like that's that's a strong possibility right now with where the show is. Um, and then I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, man, like I there's so much like okay, so I guess I want to talk about the issues I had with this episode. Like it was still a good episode. Like I said, it was building up. It's a good companion episode to episode 40. But you had Dente and Glota talking, and he's bringing up how she's just lonely. She's always cared about her family, and that she's still, even though most of them are still gone, she still has one other family member, Shoma, and she's like, no, nah. And I'm like, I like, where's this character development? Like, it seems so like misplaced almost that like, okay, I'm supposed to believe that this whole time Glota really cared about the family, was like the protector of the family, and she, is now lonely because she always like kept it to herself, and I'm like, okay, like that would be good if we saw something else to it. Because, like, when she talked to Nell, she was like, Jeep is gone and Longo's gone. It's just the three of us. So, like, why are you doing stuff like this? We're all that's left for the family. And I was like, okay. But we never really got any hints or even a inkling of this type part of her personality at all in the previous 38 episodes. Especially Longo being gone. And I was just like, all right, like, where's, I don't know, it's just weird. And going into episode 40, I was like, all right, like, because I had to rewatch 39 and then go to 40 because, like, I watched it, a while ago when it came out with the subs. And it's, so she does end up, killing Dente, and obviously it's right as, Rakia, Shoma, and Sachika show up, and, she just basically walks away. He lets her walk away, basically. And this is when we get the revelation of another subplot that we can check off. Rocky realizes the slash on Dente matches Kamal, his brother's slash, and he goes after her. And Sachika's just in shock that Dente is gone. And we get a very one-sided ass beating. Some great scenes with, Rakia confronting Glota, and she still is adamant that, like, I don't. She's like, you said you didn't. She's like, yeah. Do you think I remember every, like, granite that I had to take out, like, type of deal? And I'm like, oh, I was like, that's not what you say. Like, you don't mention his brother, like, you don't. And she easily just takes him out. Like, there's some great fighting scenes in it, like, and I think the best part was how the fight kind of ended when you thought that she was about to take out Rakia, and side frame, Shoma shows up with overmode and punches her out of frame. This whole punching all of the stomach family and they just get launched, and then you see like the Dragon Ball Z style like land destruction has been very entertaining to me. But it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, like, I guess it's, I don't know. I think episode 40 comparative was like so much better. And it's, yeah, like 39 was just, it happened. It was a good lead up. I think we did the fake out with Dente dying so many times that I was just like, all right, he's dead this time. Like, we knew this was going to happen. Once she went and confronted him, like, I was like, yeah, he's gone. This is it. Like, one last family member. And also, like, the whole thing this whole entire time, Sashika knowing that like he was sick, and then she mentioned to Rocky, and even he pointed out, it's like, how did I not notice this? Like I didn't even notice when Kamal was being weird, and he's like kind of like coming to realization he's kind of oblivious to a lot of social cues. But that's it for 39. I don't 40 was so much better. 40 was my episode, and this was really really good. I liked that we had messages from Dente that he left for everybody. One of my favorite parts was obviously the final fighting that happened and this and that, but it was like the first part of the whole entire episode was kind of like everyone dealing with the grief in their own ways. Like Sachika kind of just like on the couch, isolating herself, just thinking, she had the selfie photo with her and Dente. Then you had, Shoma putting together all the a la modes and being like, we should eat these, and we'll keep Dente in our heart, and, this and that. And then they realized there was the Go Chizo that had a message recorded from him. And I thought that was really neat, a nice touch. One of my favorite parts that didn't have anything to fight, it was Rocky was kind of just walking around aimlessly. And this whole entire time, Glota now has been going around capturing humans because Lizelle gave her a present, which was a little perfume bottle with the poison that Lango was using, which was from Lage 9, which is Rakia. And so she's going around with the perfume, just capturing everybody. And she captured a shop owner who was in the previous episode while they were doing the a la mode. I forgot to bring up that Sachika and Rakia were now, and they were trying to find the proper dish for it. And they went to a shop, and he was being awkward about it. He's like, this dish doesn't look like it tastes good. He's like, this dish is too acidic. So he was impressing the people with his own version of like critiquing these dishes. And we find out the male shop owner was pressed into an arthro press. So that's what Rocky was kind of like, oh, another person. You see a kid crying. So he's starting to see around him and notice the aftermath of all these people being kidnapped and how it's affecting those around them. And then that's when him and Shoma get into it, because he's like, why? He's like, aren't you sad? Aren't you mad? Like, what? Like, why? How are you acting like this? Because he brings him some rocks to cheer him up to eat. And he even says, of course I'm sad. But he's like, but, Sachika, this is the first time she's, seen this stuff directly. And he's like, I can't, afford to be sad. I can't afford to not keep it together. And I was just like, that was kind of like the aha moment for Rocky. And I was like, cool. I like this. And then he even says, he has a message for you too. We find out that Dente did finish the antitoxin for him. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. The one thing I'll say, and it was and when we get later on in the episode, so the Gochizo shows back up to Sachika and Hanto because they have been following all over the city, and they found Glota and they saw her kidnapping people, and this leads to them finding out where Glota is with all her arthro presses. And I find it intriguing that it was Hanto and I forgot his name, Shoma, who got there first. And even Glota's like, you're nosy. Like, why are you so nosy? And I find it intriguing that he couldn't. This is probably one of the coolest scenes in the episode, because they go to Henshin and he realizes his gachapot is empty. So he calls all the Gochizos to come by, and they're all flying in through a side door. And Glota just swings her arm back with a scythe, kills them all. So now he has to go for Blizzard Sorbet. And obviously, Hanto's going with his Frappe Custom. And they're doing all right, but then Hanto goes after the... Okay, by the way, real quick. Why are we using the red agents with Glota? Because that's not her agents, I believe. And, like, where are hers? But I did enjoy kind of like Hanto's kind of side fighting, because he was going after all the pressed humans in the briefcase. So it was like him fighting two agents, which is kind of... They were doing keep away, throwing the briefcase back and forth. I don't know why I always think of like the old, like early to mid 90s, like Jackie Chan style movies when they would do stuff like that. And he'd be like reaching back and forth and doing his kicks and catching the bag and then it being flipped over there. But we got one-on-one Glota and Blizzard Sorbet for Gavv, and my favorite line, she was like, okay, now I can like go full strength. I don't have to like hold back or anything. And she's strong. It's weird because like I feel like she's not as strong as Longo, but at the same time, like when she's in human form, she's beat the brakes off of Valen. She's done really well for herself. Like in the caking debut, it was cake. Her and she took out and was she fought Vram in caking form, 2v1 and survived, didn't technically lose. But this whole fight really was just to set up Vram's final form. The thing I didn't understand was the a la mode came out of Shoma's Gavv, because I was like, he ate that a while ago. I like, why was there such a delay? I guess. I mean, it's a subtle detail that's not gonna like ruin anything for me, but I was like, I assumed this would not, like, I assumed it was gonna, if it was gonna happen, it was been while he was eating it. And then we got Aura farming like crazy, because, like, I'm sorry, this a la mode form, like, the music, new henshin pose, and everything, like, he pulls up the different tiers of the plate, and then, he slicks his hair back instead of twirling it, the jingle, everything, I was like, this is a good-ass form. I mean, like I said, it's one a few times when I saw the poster and the leaks, I was like, that's a good form. And then seeing it, I'm like, yeah, no, it definitely is one of my favorite forms. And I liked everything about the fight with Glota, because, like, he was beating the brakes off of her. Like, it was such a good fight. Like, I liked some of the combat, some like the countering he did. There's a scene where he was like hanging off the railing and she was attacking down on him, and then he jumps over the other side when she gets her scythe stuck in it, and he just, without even looking back, tosses his scythe and hits her. Everything down to the very good freaking rider kick, which was cool because I had a countdown from 3, 2, 1, but he's just walking slowly towards her as it's counting down, and I'm like, oh, I was like, that was so good. That was so good. Obviously she didn't get killed. I was intrigued to see that, after the fight, because it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, so the only one, Jeep is like the only one that's been, or Sheeta is the only one that's been like killed, because even though we saw Jeep literally in a fire with a green screen screaming, still walked it off. Like, Longo, we did not see him get killed technically, and now same with Glota, and I'm like, all right, like, yeah, I assumed this is someone who killed her brother, that he would have made sure, like, all right, she's finished off, she's done. And that's the only thing I was like, and I don't know, it's intriguing. It was such a good fight though. I really liked that, and it was nice because also at one point, like right before the end of the fight, Shoma hopped up in caking form, and then there's like this crazy combo fighting with cameras panning around, and you had you had caking form, you had a la mode form, you had 2 whip soldiers, one with one regular, one with the Zaku chip swords, and they're just spinning around, all taking the turns hitting her, and like all the different like little tentacle things are lighting up, and she's saying like, I can't take more of these hits, like there's too much, they're too strong, and this, that, and I was like, oh, that was so visually appealing. A lot of the fights have been visually appealing, even after 40 episodes. I'm just like, man, they have not missed a beat with the action in this. And obviously some of the story that's that, like, I can complain about, the quick introduction to this new character, like this new level of the personality and characteristics for Glota, but like everything else has been pretty on pace for like really good, and I thought it was really good. Obviously at the end we saw Glota walking and falling to the ground, saying this is really it, because she gets held up by Longo and she thinks she's seeing things, and we get Longo saying, it's time to, basically restore or bring back, the Stomach family. And I'm like, he didn't say Stomach Inc. He said Stomach family. And I was just like, there's no scar on his face, though. And I was wondering, because he was a granite when he got the scar, and 10 of the human forms are disguises, so maybe that's why the scar wouldn't be on his face. Because that's why at first, when they showed the face, I was like, is she imagining this? Because wouldn't he have a scar? Like, but then I was like, well, if these are disguises, the granite form would be the one with the scar then. Um, but I don't know yet. Hopefully, I see you with the next episode. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff because like we saw Nel's tablet and he still has something with vitals on it and this and that. So I'm still curious because it's like one of those things where I'm like, it's episode 40. We really like are in the home stretch. We gotta like, get like what's going on, like with the end game. Like who's gonna be the final villain? Like it can't be Bitter Gavu. Because we know Bitter Gavu is coming back. Because, Jeep has the driver still. So it's like I don't, is it the president? Is it gonna be Longo? Because like the Longo line of the Stomach Family, not Stomach Inc. I was just like, okay, this is intriguing now. Plus, we don't really know what Nelv's been working on. Because even he seemed kind of annoyed when Lizelle was like asking him to do stuff that wasn't involving, what he was working on. Like when he got asked to do something about the toxin that Longo was using, he just kind of rolls his eyes like he's annoyed. He's like, and everyone, Glother show up, he's like, everyone just keeps interrupting him. No one can let him have his piece to work. And I'm like, well, what are you working on, sir? Like, we're on episode 40. I need some answers. But hopefully over the next 1 to 2 episodes, we'll get kind of that stuff defined. I would love to see Hanto interact with more like families that he thinks might be related to Shoma, because like I feel like that's another thing that has to get wrapped up. And if it's 50 episodes, we got 10 episodes. If it's 48, we got 8 episodes. So I'm like, okay, I don't want another situation where it's like, all right, let's add this new personality and this new characteristics to Glow to like in a span of an episode and a half. And I hope we don't get that with any of the other characters, especially Nelv and everything else. Because I'm like, well, it's like I have a lot of questions, but I'm giving the show a chance to answer them. Because anytime I've had questions, we've had a lot of stuff tied up there. I don't feel right now there's too many like loose ends, especially from early episodes. So I'm kind of content with where the show is going. Like I'm still enjoying it. Even at 40 episodes in and it's not over, I'm telling you right now, it's probably my favorite Reiwa season. It's definitely one of my top 10 overall of all time. Don't know if it's going to break the top 5. I have to wait until it's fully finished before I can make any like final judgments on the show itself as a whole. But I will say 40 episodes, I'm really enjoying it. I'm been loving it. It's been consistent. I'm trying not to cough right now, so my voice pitch keeps changing because I'm like holding it in and it hurts. But yeah, that's it. That's episode 39 and 40 of Kamen Rider Gavv. Hopefully I don't have to do 2 episodes at one anymore. I've done it like 3 times now through the whole entire show. Everything else has been individual episode reviews. So hopefully that's, a thing. Hopefully I can, I'll be better next week to do more consistent with videos because I do have other stuff. Like I did get the Sotos for the agents in. So I'm excited to get those together and get a review up for that. But that's really it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of 39 and 40. What do you think of Vram's a la mode form? Because that form is so nice. Because once the show's over, as long as there's no other forms popping up, I got to get the part 2 of my ranking all the forms video up. So I got to wait until we see if any more pop up. But that's really it. Yeah, so I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.